Well, fantastic to have you guys here from For the Win DAO. Big fan ever since I found out about it about 5 months ago, maybe?
Yeah.
So really happy to talk to you guys today, and just jumping right in, you can introduce yourself briefly, but I'll throw a question at you already. We talked about investment DAOs. For the Win DAO is in that realm. I like this space a lot. There is a lot of red tape, especially from a regulatory perspective. How do you guys think about decentralizing due diligence in investing and startup screening, and how is that impacted by local regulations? Like, I give you my perspective in the US, you fall on the Investment Advisory Act, makes things very difficult. How do you structure it? How do you guys think about that from FTW?
Yeah, very good question, very important question. The best comparison that I feel I can make is that I've been for many years working with accelerators where I do like scoring of startups. I think they have like 50 people that take on the challenge of looking at maybe 700 or 1,000 applications for accelerators. And when you do that, you give a scoring, you give an opinion, you give input, but that's not investment advice. And so why wouldn't we do something similar with DAOs? Why wouldn't we decentralize the process of looking at startups, forming an opinion, and getting to the point that investors don't have so much to work through in order to make a decision?
Fantastic. So.
And you didn't introduce yourself.
Oh, and hey. So I'm Isla, I'm one of the co-founders of For the Win DAO. We're building an investment DAO and social DAO ecosystem with a focus on investing in and supporting diverse founders. We've been working on this for 3 years. Originally we were like, we'll build a VC fund, and then we went down the Web3 rabbit hole and realized very quickly that decentralization and DAOs have incredible power to actually overcome many of the challenges in traditional venture capital, one of which being the fact that 92% of VC funding goes to all male teams. And Hana, maybe you can also share very quickly why you joined and what you think the power is.
My name is Hana, and I'm also co-founder. I am also the community lead for the Win DAO. I've been spending like the last 6 months working hard on growing our strong community. And yeah, the reason why I didn't have any experience, prior experience with finances or investing, but then I realized, that the problem that Isla just shared, like this thing about 92% of the money that is invested in all male teams. It's when I realized that this is not like a nerdy finance topic. This has an impact on all the projects that are founded by diverse teams that are so innovative and have great ideas, and they will never see the light. And this is a tragedy,
Yeah.
And this has an impact not only in the investment ecosystem, but in the rest of in the world.
Yeah, what those teams are building, right? I think I generally 100% agree with you that diverse teams build better things.
Yeah.
It's a lot more complicated for them, especially in the early days. We just find ourselves in this very space with us in Web3. Everyone has an opinion, but I do truly believe that at the end of the day, if you come to a common denominator from a very diverse group, you have a better product, right? So let's go in that direction for just a minute, maybe. Like, how do you guys think about not just embracing, but encouraging that kind of mentality, and how do you foster diversity, right? Like, I think this is such a, dare I say, overused word, right?
Yeah.
But it's not about using the word and trying to be diverse and having your pitch deck like sprinkled with different backgrounds, but actually living it, especially in a DAO. How do you build a diverse DAO?
So I think one thing that's incredibly important about DAOs that traditional funds don't have is that they have the flexibility to actually have part-time workers. And I personally am ADHD. I think when we talk about things like neurodiversity, which are often overlooked in the diversity topic, that like not everybody can or wants to work 60 or 80 hours a week to be in the venture capital space or to be creating a company. And I think that when we can create funds that actually have a lot more flexibility in the people who are involved with them, and more flexibility in terms of the fund timeline. So when we look at like evergreen funds where you don't actually have to exit the startup, you're creating an environment where you can have more people with different situations, different scenarios in their lives that get involved in startups, get involved in investing, and you're creating like fertile conditions. It's like if you keep putting seeds in a dry ground, they're not going to grow just because you put in more seeds. You have to change the soil, you have to change the ecosystem, and that's kind of what we're trying to build here.
Yeah, and also we cannot forget that finally, and at the end of the day, it all comes down to diversity of thinking. Of course, we can talk about diversity of gender, race, background, sexual orientation, you know, we can talk about all that, but finally it comes down to the diversity of thinking, you know, because that diversity of thinking is that what makes diverse teams more profitable.
How do you break down these processes to incentivize members toward that common goal to decentralized scouting or due diligence or any of these things? And we can ignore even the regulatory side for now, I think, because we will solve that. I think that's just a question of time.
One thing that we've done, maybe not with the goal to incentivize, but at least to not disincentivize our community, is to make sure that our community was structured. Because sometimes things that DAOs have to be totally horizontal and they don't have to have any structure at all, you know, and that what brings is chaos and mess, you know. And early contributors, they join the DAO and they don't have a clue. They feel like this is the Wild West, you know. And well, we have made sure in our DAO is that we have systems and structures in place. And of course, our decision-making process, we strive it to be like as decentralized as possible, but we have a structure. And you know, some of our members, they say that for the DAO is like the most, I don't know, organized and yeah, but this is a good thing. Like, you know, when you have systems, when you let your early contributors, you know, to know what's the next thing, you know, what they have to do. They don't have to be, you know, wondering and figuring out everything by themselves, you know. So I think that was important.
100%, and I think that's why it was for us a huge advantage that we started as a centralized team of founders and are gradually decentralizing, because we can create that feeling of like, this is something that can get venture funding, this is something that can really grow, we're organized, we're putting in the effort, we're 100% committed. And it's like, I don't remember who said it, but it's like, if someone asks you to join a rocket ship, you don't ask which seat.
Right.
And that's kind of like without being hype, that is the vibe that we want to create, is that we're building something of super high quality and where people care about the mission more importantly than anything. And I think that that's working. It's been hard work, and it's been slower than a lot of people who somehow put together like 2 million from a random NFT sale for a random, probably illegal investment DAO a year ago. And it's been incredibly and frustrating to watch, but I think we were on the right track. Don't even
go there. I know it's frustrating, we've all looked at it, but like, where are most of these projects now, right?
Yeah,
sure, maybe there's one or two rich assholes coming out of this because they rug pulled, but like, I think we all believe in quality and building utility, right? So, and I think ending on this, building quality membership, and focusing on that. I love to hear that. I'm kind of sad I didn't mint your NFT a little while ago.
That was my fault. That is my ending question, and I wanted to ask at the beginning, why haven't you minted if you heard about us 5 minutes ago?
I mean, actually, this okay, it's on the camera, whatever.
I want to hear it on camera,
so
on record.
I think the honest answer is I just didn't have time to do my due diligence, right? And being in an investment DAO space myself, I should have not minted without looking into it.
100%.
Would I have been here before? Probably a different question, right? Because of course the fundamentals about starting companies haven't changed. You are the team. I met you now. I know you're real people, right? It's all of these things which I think we have lost for all of these other get-rich-quick projects you just mentioned. And that's not what it's about, right? It's not what it's been about for me ever. And I love to see that in this difficult market we're in, with all the bad news we had. Yeah, we call it the builders market, right? I call it the bear builders, but it's tough because, and I said we're ending on this, but this is my commentary at this point, because where do you get the money from, right? Like even the VCs earlier said, oh, it's time to build, but you need to fund the building.
You need to also fund,
because I think
VCs fund!
One of the ways that our community is incentivized is because we've been generating revenue from the very beginning, you know, and we are building products that can be sold you know, and that allow us to generate multiple incomes, stream incomes, you know. And
elaborate on that real quick, actually. Like, what are the products you built from the beginning?
So we launched our NFT. We are building our Angel Lounge.
Where we're sourcing deal flow from all of our members.
Yeah, it's just for our founding members, and we have launched we are in the second edition of our Web3 VC education program.
Nice.
So we're training new investors, and that's a big part of our diversity mission, is to get more new diverse investors into the space.
But as you can imagine, we need a lot of active and engaged members to build this, you know. And there you have it. I think.
So you should join, and you should join.
Yeah,
I mean, I probably will, actually. And so again, you cut me off whenever you want. From now on, I think this is just an informal conversation, but it's super interesting because there's many ways I want to take this actually right now. But like, one is you're educating investors. This brought up Kaufman Fellows in my head, VC3. We talked to those guys. Interesting what they're doing in the traditional world. Maybe that's what you're doing for Web3 investment kind of thing. But then how do you balance having the investor types and the scouts and the engineers, which you no doubt need, to build all that cool stuff? Has that been a challenge?
How do you balance? Like, what do you mean by
like
how
just
do you
growing
balance?
the community on all of these different angles, right? It's like
it's been a challenge, and I think like our team came more from the business side and less from the technical side, but I think that's where we're really grateful for the bear market, actually, because as all of the hype went away, us as a project that really meant what we were saying and meant what we were doing, we've had a lot more chance to get in contact with the people who are technical and people who have been really busy right up until now. And they're coming, and they're like,
Okay, that's interesting, because now engineers are looking for the projects they actually enjoy working on instead of the ones with the biggest pay.
That might be a too long didn't read.
Yeah, right.
Or they just have a bit of spare time because not everything is going nuts, and they're not like
Awesome. Well, it's fantastic. It's great chatting with you guys. Thank you so much for the insight.
Thank you.
We will stick around. If there's still a loose NFT floating around, just send it to me. I will participate at some point. But yeah, thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Maybe you also can tell the audience how to keep in touch with you.
Oh.
And who else should we talk to in this space?
Very good questions.
So you can follow us at 3Ws. FTW DAO.com, and you can find us also in social media. We are in LinkedIn and in Twitter. In LinkedIn, we are doing really great. We have a lot of followers there and a lot of engagement. And we are also in Instagram, and we are about to take the lead to TikTok.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Yeah.
Well, we'll make sure to link the webpage for sure.
Thank you.
I am assuming you're a closed DAO, right? So it's not like anyone can just jump in.
You can jump in our Discord, but we have like closed channels for members only. You can get our early supporter NFT that's completely permissionless, or for founding members, which have a bigger role to play and get more involved. We have an application process, but that's on our website. So come, say hi, apply, and we'll have a chat.
FTWDAO.com.
Yeah.
Awesome. Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again.